Today you're watching me on Bowdabra, so thank you guys for watching. As you come in, let me know where you guys are watching from. Today we're going to be doing all sorts of bows using this amazing device called the Bowdabra. This is a tool that I've been using for a few years now, and I absolutely love it, especially at Christmas time. For those of you guys that have not seen me before, I make a lot of bows, and I typically do them by hand. At Christmas time especially, I use the Bowdabra. I think it's incredibly useful. If your hands start to hurt or if you have arthritis, this is the perfect tool for you. Basically what this is a third hand, and I find it extremely useful for bow making. So we're going to be making all sorts of bows today. We may be able to make a swag if that's something you guys would like to see, but I know a lot of you guys need practice with bow making, and I think it's much easier to start off with a tool like this. I love this design because it's so simple. It's not overly complex. All it basically has is this little mechanism where it clamps the ribbons together. So it also comes with a wand. I don't use the wand, and I traditionally don't use the wire. This is my second time working with the wire, so we may be able to put some of this in. I typically use pipe cleaners. You know, with bow making, there's not a lot of rules. It's very simple. So we're going to start off with a 2.5-inch ribbon. This came from Craft Outlet or Trendy Tree, one of those two amazing companies, and it's wired. So I am a wreath maker. I make swags, lantern swags, wreaths, garlands, Christmas trees. I love to use wired ribbon for that. I'm also a florist, so I love to use non-wired satin ribbon for those types of designs. So we're going to be starting off with our Bowdabra and a 2.5-inch ribbon. And today we're going to be making a very simple traditional bow for starts. So what I did is I just placed the ribbon inside of the twist, just like that. And now what I'll do is I'll pinch it and twist it completely around. We have a couple ribbons where it's going to show you a little bit better what I'm doing. But basically this side right here is the side we don't want showing. And I have it facing up today because when we gather it together, the side we want showing is going to be revealed. So now if we gather it together, that side's showing. It doesn't make a difference with this ribbon, but other ribbons as we design bows with, you're going to be able to notice that. So I'm going to repeat this pattern over and over again. Hi Dawn. Hi Charlotte. I started on the Bowdabra. I still like to use it 6 years later. Awesome. So I'll just run out some ribbon like that, and we'll just continue making loops. So traditionally, the more loops you have, the more full your bow is going to be, and not every single bow I make is going to have a lot of loops. Often, within my wreath making, I place smaller loops and less loops so I can tuck in some greenery and berries and picks and decorations like that, so that the bow is a little bit more subtle. For this bow, we're going to be doing it nice and full, so we have a nice full traditional bow. As you can see, I'm not measuring out the loops. If they're 1/2 inch or less difference, it doesn't make a difference, you guys. It really doesn't. A lot of you have precision locked in your mind. For this, it doesn't really make a difference. So get out of the habit of thinking it has to be precise and exact, because once you fluff out your bow, it's going to be beautiful. So if you guys don't mind sharing this video, I greatly appreciate it.
Don't forget to say I want to win.
Exactly. So today Bowdabra will be giving away a roll of ribbon. So if that's something you would like to win, comment in the comment section saying I would love to win. And a random person will be chosen to win. So that's enough loops. We probably did 6 or 7 on either side, and that'll be plenty. So now I'll just cut it short, just like that. And I'll push it back in my Bowdabra. So this is where the wand comes in handy, where you place it on the top and you press down. I've typically always just used my hands like that to place it down. So I do things a little bit differently, but that's the fun in bow making. So now what I'll do is I'll just run a length for the tails. It can be as however long you want. So this one looks like about a 20-inch piece on either side. So in total it's 40 inches. And I'm just going to fold it in half just like that. Pinch at the top, and then what I do, since this ribbon's not overly bulky, we can just very easily slide it out like this. And as long as we have it in our hands, we're not going to lose it. So I just placed it on top of the ribbon. I don't have any stress in my hands. I'm holding it very loosely as long as all of the loops are contained within. Taking a pipe cleaner, placing it around the bow. So by a show of hands, who has made a bow before? Bows are one of my favorite things to make, and I've been making bows for years now. I love making bows, and I think they really enhance whatever you place them on. So now what we're doing is we're separating the loops. I'm simply just pulling them apart.
Hi from
Annie.
Texas.
Hi from Texas. Welcome. Again, if you guys don't mind letting me know where you guys are watching from, I think it's fascinating that me and my dad could be in the basement right now of my my shop, and we have people watching from all around the world. I think that's just amazing.
Christina Hewitt says, "Hey, Nick."
Hi. So very quickly we fluffed that. Didn't put too much effort into it, and look what we ended up with, you guys. Give some hearts if that turned out to be a beautiful bow. So simple, so easy, and so elegant. So we used orange today. This would work for fall and Halloween, and you can keep this up until Thanksgiving. So to finish off our ends, you see, if we can get a little bit closer, if you can see the ends of these tails, they're not perfect. So what I like to do is I like to fold my ribbon in half on the tails, and then I cut from the middle out towards the wired edge. And what that'll do is create a nice dovetail or a V-cut, and that'll just create a more professional looking bow with these nice tails. So if we can get a little bit closer, take the ribbon, fold it in half, and cut from the middle out towards the wired edge. And when we open it up, we got that nice dovetail. Isn't that awesome? So you can make these bows as big or as small as you'd like. Today we made it, I consider this a medium-sized bow. We've done bows all the way up to tree toppers for 9-foot trees on the Bowdabra, using this specific Bowdabra. So like I said before, I don't measure things out. I'm not super precise when it comes to stuff like that. And as you can see, the end result is just stunning. So don't worry too much about getting things perfect. Hi from Gainesville, Florida. Welcome. Alabama, Virginia, love watching you. Thank you.
Michigan,
Central
Canada.
Illinois. Welcome. So that's our first bow. I'd consider this to be a traditional bow. Let me know in the comment section what other types of bows you would like to see. What we're going to do next is a funky bow. These are one of my favorite bows to make. So let me just choose a couple of the ribbons.
I will try to make a bow for you guys one of these days.
He will. He has yet to make a bow before.
Hi, everybody. Thank you.
Yep, my dad's filming me today. My older sister's at work and my little sister's at work. So as you guys know, this is a family event. We all help my business, which is, I'm very fortunate to have my family to help me do stuff like this. So now if we can get a little bit closer, this bow is a little bit more different than the one we have. So this is a 1.5-inch ribbon, again wired, and then we also have a 2.5-inch ribbon wired. So what I'm going to do is I don't like to measure personally. I like to just place it inside of the Bowdabra. So what I'm doing is I'm placing it inside, and this is going to be a better example where you can see what I mean by twisting it. I'm twisting the ribbon completely around so that the side that's not shiny is facing up towards us. But then when we gather it together,
Hey, y'all. Wow, we have Peabody, Mass, Orlando, Florida, North Carolina. This is awesome.
so we have a tail on one side and we have a loop on the other side. So now I'm just going to cut it off like that. So we have two tails on one side and a loop on the other side. And as you guys come in, if you don't mind sharing this video and giving this video a thumbs up, I greatly appreciate it. It lets us know that this is the content you like to see, and we'll continue doing more and more of them more frequently. Now we have the 2.5-inch ribbon, and we'll do the same exact process where we're going to pinch so that the side we don't want showing is facing up towards us. And then when we gather it together again, the pretty loop is revealed. So like I said, I don't measure out the tails. If they're different lengths, that's perfectly fine. If anything, it adds to the beauty of these types of bows. So now we'll repeat that process. Since we have a loop on this side, we're going to alternate it so that we have a loop on the other side.
Debbie Bennett says, good evening, Nick.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Then I'll just cut off the tails again. And these types of bows are perfect to use up your scrap. So if you have scrap ribbon lying around, perfect tutorial for it. So again, pinch, twist completely around, and then snip off the ribbon. I'm not measuring it, but the tails are approximately 8 inches and the loops are about 4.5 inches as well. So we have a little bit of the ribbon left, so we're going to just make the tail slightly smaller. And like I said, it's not going to make a difference in the end.
Hi, Kentucky. Hi, Nancy from Danvers. Sandy.
Welcome.
Thank you all for watching.
So we're going to place one more of these tails inside, and then that should be enough for the 2.5 inch. And then we'll just finish off the roll using the 1.5 inch.
Sandy says hi, Nick.
Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining.
Hi, Cindy from Kentucky.
So we have one piece left. So we used a partial roll, just had a little bit of it left. And I'll push it down. Instead of using my wand, I'll just push it down. Take a pipe cleaner. What you could do is feed it through. But like I said, if you have a lot of ribbons that are very thick, it's a little bit difficult to pull out. But I've never had an issue with just pulling out my ribbon. Just like that. I'm not adding so much pressure that my hands hurt. I'm just making sure that they're contained within my hands and I don't lose them. Place my pipe cleaner behind. Love this from Virginia. Thank you. And there we have a pretty bow. So now what we're going to do is we're going to dovetail. And for those of you that have never made a bow before, my key to making a beautiful bow is to make sure that the ends are finished, whether it's a dovetail or cut at an angle. I never like the blunt edge like this, so I'll just take my ribbon, fold it in half, cut from the middle out towards the wired edge. And again, that's how you get that nice, pretty edge of your ribbon. So I'll do that to the 2.5 inch because that's more noticeable. And to save time, I won't do the 1.5 inch, but you guys off camera can certainly do it. So today we're making Halloween bows and fall bows, and we're going to be making Christmas bows really soon. And if you guys have any ideas as to what you'd like to see me use the Bowdabra for in the future, let me know in the comments section. If you'd like to see a Christmas tree topper or anything of that nature, just let me know. Again, fold the ribbon in half, cut from the middle out towards the wired edge, and that's how you get a nice dovetail. We have one tail left with the 2.5 inch, fold in half, cut from the middle out towards the wired edge. And now is where we fluff our bow. So to fluff, I just like to hold the pipe cleaner with bows like this, pull apart the tails and the loops, run my fingers through them so that we get any creases and any kinks out of them. Almost 700 people, thank you guys. Again, for those of you that are just tuning in, if you don't mind sharing this, you may be able to help somebody that struggles with bow making. And these are perfect bows for presents. Of course, we're dealing with Halloween, so I don't know many people that give Halloween gifts. But for Christmas, we can follow the same technique and apply it to Christmas ribbon.
People want Christmas tree toppers, Nick.
Christmas tree toppers, you got it. So I will have a link for this for those of you that are asking the Bowdabra. But look at that. Isn't that pretty? Using two different ribbons like that. I think this would look awesome on top of a present. Imagine this was a present. Imagine a bow sitting on top of this like this. Great for baby showers, for parties. I think these are awesome. You could also put this on a lantern. You could put this on a lamp post outside, your stair rails, your mantle. Even your Christmas tree to have some of these sitting inside would be awesome.
Tree topper tutorial is what they're asking for.
Awesome. We'll definitely do one of those. So now let's do a bow with some deco mesh tubing. For those of you that follow me as well, you guys know I'm not the biggest fan of this. I think once you do something for a long time, you kind of get sick of it over a while. So I stopped really using this for a bit. But I really like the way it looks in bows. So we're going to add some of these. Now we're going to be doing candy corn. And for those of you that watched my video we did yesterday on Home Talk, we did, was it yesterday or last week? Last week. Yesterday we did a snake wreath. Last week we did a candy corn themed wreath. And you could put a bow using the Bowdabra on that design. So let's do another little funky bow. Cut off the tails. And then what we're going to do is we're going to actually add some of this tubing. So I'm just going to place it inside the Bowdabra. And like I said, the Bowdabra, these two pieces clamp together to hold your products in. So we'll just place some of this.
Cindy says hi, Nick.
Hello, welcome. What is the best way to remove creases in ribbon? Running your fingers through it. So what I do, so let's say this is creased like this. All I do is I just gather my fingers together and just run them through the ribbon. And I do that whether I see any creases or not, because sometimes it just looks overall kind of creased. So I just run my fingers through the ribbon constantly. And as I'm taking pictures of my designs, you'll see me do that time and time again. Trim off the little deco mesh tubing. And this tubing came from the Dollar Tree. Very inexpensive. And we're going to repeat this pattern, alternating it. So since we have a tail, 2 tails on this side, and we have 1 loop on this side, now we're going to place another loop on the opposing side coming this way.
Christine loves watching you make bows, Nick.
Thank you. So I know a lot of you guys have struggled with bow making, and I'm just here to make it easier. There's nothing complicated about making bows. If you put a lot of thought into it, that's how usually you end up with problems. If you just think of it very simply, you'll be able to create a beautiful bow. But like I said, the most important part, in my opinion, is running your fingers through the ribbon and also making sure that you dovetail the ends or cut them at an angle. For this ribbon, you can't really tell that much against my table, but for other ribbons, you certainly can. So we're just going to continue placing some tails and then some deco mesh tubing.
Hi, Pittsburgh. Hi, Kentucky.
Welcome, everybody. So like I said, you could also be using the Bowdabra wire. This is extremely strong, and I've tested it over and over again. This is awesome. I'm just so used to using pipe cleaners at this point that I'm kind of hesitant to give them up. But this is extremely strong for the thickness of it, and it holds its shape perfectly. So you can double this up, and we'll show you that in a little bit. Doubling this up and using this as a wire. For mesh wreaths, that works perfectly. For grapevines, it's a little bit more tricky to feed it through if you have a very thick grapevine. So adding more deco mesh tubing.
We have Iowa, West Virginia, and Alabama in the house.
Welcome, everybody. Awesome. So bad news, the other day I cracked my phone, so we're just going to talk for a little bit. The other day I cracked my phone, and I've never done that before. My dad was completely shocked because I'm so careful with my stuff. So looking at your comments is a little bit difficult on my phone. But that's just life. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put more tails on the opposing side. We'll stop this after 4 loops. But again, if you guys like these kind of videos teaching you how to make bows on the Bowdabra, let us know. We love to hear your feedback. And if you do like these types of things, comment and share this video. It'll let us know that we should continue doing these in future videos. And I want to thank Sandy with Bowdabra for inviting me today. We'll also be here the 28th doing a tutorial. So there we go. We have 3 loops on either side with a bunch of deco mesh tubing. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a black pipe cleaner, make sure my ribbon's compressed.
Wow, Trinidad and Tobago in the house. That's awesome.
Welcome.
Texas, Massachusetts, Mississippi. This is really nice.
It's awesome. I think it's unbelievable that people can be watching from all around the world.
It's awesome.
You said Trinidad?
Yeah, Trinidad and Tobago. That's amazing.
That's pretty far from us. Definitely. So now I'll just separate the tails. Much easier if the ribbon's wired. But like I said, I also deal with non-wired ribbon for my floral arrangement. So if that's something you'd like to see in the future as well, let me know. We'll definitely try to do some silk ribbons. But that's something kind of fun. It kind of reminds me of a spider. But I think this would look awesome on a wreath as well. Please keep up the videos. Love them. Awesome. You got it. Is there any rules for number of loops and bows? So like I said earlier in the video will be reposted so you can watch the replay. But like I said earlier, the more loops you have, the more full your bow is going to be. Sometimes I like to do less loops and less tails so I can tuck in greenery and picks and decorations like that. I think it's nice to have that. So far we've made 3 bows. A funky bow using deco mesh tubing. We've created a traditional bow. This is typically my type of bows. I've always been kind of a traditional person. I love designs to look classy and elegant. And I definitely take that after my grandmother, not my dad who's behind the camera. He likes things a little bit more whimsical and fun. But this is more my style, so I love this bow. And then we also did a funky bow without the deco mesh tubing. So comment below real quick. Let me know which bow you like the best out of all 3 of these. Not necessarily the color scheme. The technique is what I'm looking for, so let me know which technique you like the best. Personally, for me, it's this one. How about you, Dad?
I like the green and purple one. I like
He
the ones
likes
that...
he likes this one, but this is kind of my style.
Charlotte says, "Yeah, you'll be live on her birthday."
Awesome! Happy early birthday. So let's do another bow. And then we can attach one to a swag if we have time. And if that's something you guys would like to see, we could do that real quick. So this is one of my favorite ribbons. This is a chevron. It's a 50-yard spool. And as you can see, I haven't put a dent into it yet. So we're going to be doing another bow. So let's do a simple bow. What I'm going to do for starts is I'm going to place my tails inside. So these tails are about 18 inches, and we'll do that on either side. So I'll just snip it off like this. And what we can also do is we can kind of layer. Do we have another ribbon I like? You know what? I think this will be kind of cool if we just do 4 loops. So we'll do 4 loops with this bow. So I'm placing it upside down, as you can see here. And I pre-cut my tails ahead of time. I think it's easier to do that. Now, since the ugly side is on top, when we gather it, like I said before, the pretty side will be revealed. Like that. So now let me run out a few yards of ribbon. And you could also tuck these underneath if it's easier for you. Now we'll make another loop. And if you want to measure them out, you certainly can. As I said before, I don't do that typically. I usually just eyeball it. If it looks good to the human eye, it'll look beautiful on a wreath or on a design. So we have 2 loops on either side that are kind of the same length. And we'll do that once more. And another good tip is if you just run your fingers together like this, you can kind of see if they're the same length. We'll place another loop, and like I said, you could just run your fingers there and see if they're the same length. And then we'll do one more loop. And this one's going to be slightly smaller by about 1/2 inch to 1 inch. So what I'll do is I'll just take it out. As you can see, I twisted it there just to add a little bit more support. We'll snip it off right there. Compress it by pushing it down or using your wand, whichever is easier for you. Taking our bow out, taking a pipe cleaner, feeding it around all of the loops, like that. So now if we separate them out, and pull our tails down, we got the traditional, what I'd call the traditional Christmas bow that you can see at CVS, Michael's, Walmart. They all sell those 97-cent bows with 4 loops around the edges and then 1 loop in the middle. That's the same bow that this is. And we just made it for pennies on the dollar and very quickly. So again, let me know which bow is your favorite. And if the tails aren't the same length, we can always trim those later. But let's quickly make a little swag that we can put together. We still have a few minutes left. So what I have right here is a mixture of greenery. I have some cotton, and I have some flowers. So real quick, to put a swag together, I'm going to take 2 of these pieces of cotton, and I'm just going to place them together like this. And typically to secure them, what I do is I use a zip tie. But we're just going to use a pipe cleaner for the video's sake today. Cut off our tag first. I like tags like this because they're so much easier to remove than Hobby Lobby tags. The Hobby Lobby tags are just so awful to remove. They take forever. So we have some cotton that we can kind of separate afterwards. And now what we'll do is we'll take our bow. We're going to take the orange one today. And I think these would look awesome on either side of your front door. And I'm just wrapping it around the 2 sprays. So this we've created for about $5 or $6 super easily.
Probably could put that on the kitchen table too for decoration. It's really nice.
You could also take the tails on either end and have them like this, and then tuck them in like you guys have seen me do in other videos, and have this as a table runner. You could do a couple of these as a table runner. What I personally prefer is a swag. What you could also do is take some flowers. We have some sunflowers right here. And what I'll do, just real quick to show you guys.
The winner is Janet Williams. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Janet. So next time we'll also be giving away, Bowdabra will also be giving away a roll of scrunchy ribbon. And that's something I'm so excited to try. But again, if you guys like these kind of tutorials on Bowdabra, let us know, and we'll be more than happy to continue them. And if you have any ideas as to what you'd like to see in the future, let us know, and we'll be definitely taking them into consideration and attempting them. So now what I'm doing is, if we just zoom over to the left, this is a glue skillet. Many of you guys have seen these, and for those of you that haven't, you're missing out. This is my favorite tool in my shop. What it does is just applies hot glue. So if you move back to the swag, we can place a couple flowers inside of it. So this is a perfect example as to what I was talking about before. The more loops you have, the more full your bow is going to be. So if we did less loops, we can kind of make the bow look a little bit more natural by tucking in flowers like I'm doing right now. And to attach these, all I'm doing is I'm placing them within the loops.
Nick, what is scrunchy ribbon?
So, I'm not 100% sure. I got a couple rolls in the mail from Sandy. I don't know what the texture is made out of, but it's kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. I'll show you guys a picture of it, but it's really cool, and I'm excited to try it out. I don't want to say like tin foil, but like the consistency of that metallic fabric. But that's such a simple, easy swag. You could, of course, tuck in a few more flowers if you want, and we'll just tuck in a couple for the video's sake.
Where can you get the glue pot, Nick?
So I have a link for that, and I'll put it in the comments section. You can get them from Amazon, Walmart. Mine's a 6-inch pan. So we're just taking a couple of these dollar store flowers, dollar store sunflowers, dollar store daisies here, and just poking them in. And give some hearts if you love this. So simple, so inexpensive to create. So you can fluff out your cotton, and here we have a very simple swag. You could elaborate it more by adding more decorative picks. You could add some pumpkins. You could make it your own. So I want to thank you guys for watching me today on Bowdabra. The replay will be posted for those of you that are interested in seeing the video in its entirety. But what we created was this. Let's dovetail this real quick. Take the ribbons, fold it in half, cut from the wired edge, cut from the middle towards the wired edge. Let's show it this way so you can get a better visual. Fold it in half, cut from the middle out towards the wired edge, and then you got that nice dovetail. So we did this bow, which is a typical bow you'd see at Walmart, Michael's, stores like that, where we have 4 loops and then a middle loop in the middle. We also did this bow right here for Halloween.
Where'd you get the orange ribbon, Nick?
Trendy Tree, I believe. And then we did one with dollar store deco mesh tubing. And then our last bow was the traditional bow that we've incorporated some florals into. So thank you guys for watching me today on Bowdabra. I'm Nick, Creticos of Nick's Seasonal Decor. I want to thank you guys again for watching. If you don't mind taking a second and sharing this video and letting us know what kind of bows you'd like to see in the future, we love to hear your feedback. So I hope you guys have a great night, and I'll see you all soon. Bye,
Thank you
everyone.
all.